Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Eric Brown, your Beverly Hills real estate agent, bringing you the best of LA, where I share with you cool local businesses that you may not know of and a bit of their story. Now today I'm here with my friend Kamran Ford of the Hills Driving School. And Cameron's just going to dive right in and tell us a bit about his business. So why don't you go ahead and share?
Alrighty, so I started this business 4 months ago. It's a brand new business.
Sure.
I used to be in aerospace. I worked for companies like SpaceX, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, and in the back of my mind, I always wanted to start a driving school. When I was at UCLA, I was working for a company. It was called Westwood Driving School. I'm sure a lot of locals know about that school. And the way they were doing business, I mean, they've been in business for a long time. And I was 34, 35 when I was working there, and I noticed some stuff that could have been improved. So in the back of my mind, I always wanted to start a driving school to help people to make improvements on the industry itself. Mm-hmm. But I went to UCLA, my path took me to aerospace, and then recently, like I said, I decided to start it. And now I'm like, wow, okay, I can use a lot of principles from aerospace and bring it into driving school. How would that work? So for example, in aerospace we have something called continuous improvement process. So I'm trying to bring that to driving school. So processes like 3 whys. What does that mean? So let's say this is a common mistake, by the way. A lot of teenagers do this. So we are driving and somebody stops suddenly. And what new drivers do, right away they pull to the right or left, which is very dangerous. So what we do, we go over it, we say, okay, why did you have this reaction? And the student, for example, says, oh, okay, I was too close. So why were you too close? So 3 whys. So we go to the root cause,
sure.
Right?
One thing that I find so interesting about the entrepreneurial journey is someone, just like Kamran, will find a business or an idea that they know that they can just do better. And then they implement that and create something that provides a better experience for the consumer. So your clientele, they want to get a license, right? Like that's the goal. So how has that process in the past 5, 10 plus years since you were there and now have started your own business, what's changed in the world of driving education?
So what has changed? Okay, let me back up a little bit. So I got my license in Germany, mm-hmm. and that was late 80s. And back then, I spent around $4,000.
It's really expensive.
Right, yeah. And that was back in Germany. So they take driving very seriously. So back to your question, what has changed? Honestly, I feel the trend has been going down instead of getting better.
As far as driving, like actual driving ability?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I feel like as a profession, driving instructor, they are not really, it's not a prestigious profession if you think about it.
Sure.
Many people become a driving instructor as a second job or a part-time job. Mm-hmm. So my mission is really to bring that level of European style driving school to LA. I think it's about time.
That's great. And so folks that have driving related questions, now also in the past 20, 25 plus years, there's now an online component that didn't used to exist. Right. So what does the process look like for a new student or a prospect?
All right, so yes, you're correct. So a lot of new technology has helped us to communicate better with the students. Mm-hmm. It has a positive and negative thing. So before, driver's education was usually in a classroom. So if students had questions or something was not clear, they would raise their hand and there was that interaction. Mm-hmm. But right now, I was saying 90% of driver's education is online. And I offer a course too. And by the way, whoever watches this video with Eric, I give like a free course. Like they can take the course for free.
Oh, that's awesome.
Online. Just go to my website or call me. Just say, okay, I saw your video with Eric, and you can have the online education course for free. So I'm trying to bring that personal thing back into driving education. So I call students. I call them continuously, every day, every other day. Ask them if they had questions, if something was not clear. I talk to parents. So the process is, they call us, they go online, they sign up for a class, they take the online course, they go to DMV, take the written test, and then we start the behind the wheel training. California requires 6 hours.
Of behind the wheel?
Yes.
Sure.
Now, if you compare that to Germany, they require 40 hours.
Wow, what a difference.
Yes. And in Germany, you're supposed to drive in rain, you're supposed to drive at night, just many hours. By the way, we offer night classes too.
Sure.
Up to midnight.
And that actually was going to be one of my questions is, different businesses have different service components. In my world, there's a difference between working with a home buyer or a home seller or an investor or someone that wants commercial property, and those services are different. It's still, you come to a real estate professional, but those are different components. Do you have that in your business or industry as well, where I know there's online and behind the wheel, but are there other components as far as different licenses maybe that people want or different skills that people want?
Right. Yes, we offer, so because I came from aerospace, we offer also forklift training. Many schools don't.
Right.
So I cover industrial areas too, but stick shift driving, for example.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, I'm trying to implement electric cars into our school. So
Sure.
my next step is to get an electric car, because I think the future is going to be electric. I mean, it's obvious. And the driving is going to be different. So if you drive an electric car, it's fundamentally different than a gasoline car.
Sure.
Especially for training.
And I can imagine with, I know this advent of all of the technologies we have now, there's discussions around what happens to truck drivers. It's, I think, still the largest industry in the US for employment. And so what is going to happen as we are automating vehicles, et cetera? Where will people go? How does that affect driving? But that's fascinating that your business can help people in multiple avenues. I think that that's great. Do you find that for most people that are going through the schooling or the education, where are their biggest sticking points? Where are challenges that you find your program and your education really helps people?
So a lot of students, they're really nervous about driving. That's the first thing. So they have this misconception about instructors yelling at them as teenagers, right? So once we have a lesson and they say, okay, it's not as bad. So they say, okay, they can relax. And once you're relaxing, you learn better.
Yeah.
So this is one of the techniques we use. Like when students start driving with us, we try to make them as comfortable as possible. This way they learn a lot better.
Yeah, and you touched on something that I'll piggyback off of, and it's the value of education. And I don't just mean the education from the course, but teaching people about maybe some of their misconceptions about the industry or the fears that they have, kind of like going to the dentist. Or the other day I had a conversation with someone that said, hey, we went on your website and it looks like you only do multiple $1 million homes.
Right.
Like you wouldn't help a first-time buyer, which is untrue. But we're not advertising that. We're not showing that component. So that education of just letting your audience know the various things that you can do is really important. And hopefully a video like this helps people get to understand.
Yes, I was going to say what you're doing here in Beverly Hills, helping small businesses get the word out. Because honestly, my work is word of mouth. I'm not spending a lot of money on advertising.
Sure.
So I have a personal connection with every client that I have. They almost become like friends at the end of the process.
Yeah.
So this is why when you offered us to come to your program, I jumped on it because it's a personal thing.
Yeah.
And I think people like that. So
Especially in a world of more and more happening online.
yes.
We talked a little bit off camera about the idea of the personal touch. And I would think that our two industries are somewhat similar in the fact that this is a big next step in someone's life. Their ability to be able to drive, they're buying or selling their home, there's some intimacy there. And so by making it personal, making them feel like you really truly care, I think goes above and beyond just the I'm getting a certificate,
Right.
I'm selling this thing. So I think that that's great.
Yes, I don't make them just feel that we care. We truly care.
Mhm.
We truly care about our students. So that's why I changed my career from aerospace to having a driving school. Many people ask me, why did you do that? I think I can make a bigger impact. I can help more people. Unfortunately, I see tragedies in family, friends, teenagers getting into accidents. It's really heartbreaking. So with having like a really good driver's education and driver's training, I'm trying to avoid those tragedies, which is like reassuring that with training, like I myself with my training, knock on wood, I never had an accident.
Yeah.
So training is so important, and I compare myself to my friends in LA who got their education here or driver's training here, and I see they get into accidents. So I'm like, what's going on? And with our students, as soon as we start minute one, we start with defensive driving.
Yeah. I would guess as well, again, with more and more technology, and as we had spoke of a bit before, we're now inundated with advertisement and apps and social media and emails and pick a thing, right? So my guess is one of the huge challenges is people wanting to look at their phone while they're driving. And so the instruction around that and trying to not chase the shiny object that's sitting right next to you in your car, I would guess is probably a huge part of the education.
It is. It's interesting you brought this up. So there are many components to get a proper driver's education and training. So car control. Okay, so first lesson we go through all the controls and we start training the student to basically control the car. And then the second component is the rules of the road. But what you just said, psychological things. So we address that too, like a peer pressure. So a student who is with the parents, they drive totally different than when they're alone or they're driving with the parents, or friends.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on and we try to address all that. So California requires only 6 hours, which is the minimum. And we offer that to you. Okay, so, and I think we do it better than other schools. But my recommendation is 10 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good investment. When your kid has that training, the chance that they get into an accident and then their insurance rate goes up, and God forbid they get injured, all those chances come down. So, yes.
Well, this was great. Obviously, we could go on chatting for a long
Right.
time, but this is usually a great stopping point to say, hey folks, anyone, if you have any questions or further interest about looking into any type of either licensure, certification, or being able to pass a course like this, we're going to pop all of the contact information on screen here for the Hills Driving School. Is there any last thing that you can think of that's really important for the viewing audience, either to hear or to reiterate that we talked about before? So don't be nervous. I know the first step is hard. We also have adult students who are in their 20s or 30s, and because they're nervous about driving or they had some accidents in the family, they're very nervous to start driving. Yeah.
So we encourage those people because we are here in LA. Driving is the culture. We have to drive.
Right.
So I encourage those people who are nervous or scared just to jump in, take a lesson. You're gonna feel a lot better after the first lesson.
I love that. And so that's what we'll leave with just to jump in. So again, the Hills Driving School is here. Touch base anytime if you have questions or needs. As always, this is Eric Brown, your Beverly Hills real estate agent, bringing you the best of LA. My friend Kamran from the Hills Driving School. Both of us say thanks so much for watching, and until the next time, signing off.
Thank you.